Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning everyone.
Good morning, doctor.
Okay, so as planned, today we're going to look into exercise 2.1 and 2.2. So we are now in second chapter of our course. Okay, the second chapter is basically about vector valued functions. Okay, so and everything about vectors we will learn in this chapter. So basically this chapter is the only chapter that is not attached to uh, other chapters. Okay, means if you learn about vectors will only be in chapter 2. There are no vector in chapter 3, there are no vector in chapter 4. Okay, however for chapter 1, okay, the one that you learn about sketching will be used until chapter 3, will be used until chapter 4. Okay, so the connection there lah, right? So let's say exercise 2.1. In exercise 2.1, basically we have 5 questions. Okay, so we go through each question. So the first thing about vectors that you have to know is about the domain. Okay, so find the domain of the following vector functions. Okay, so let's say for example 1a. Okay, the bracket is also different in between the vector and coordinate. Okay, if it's coordinate, then the bracket will be like this. Okay, but then if it's vector, it is a pointed bracket lah. Bracket dia adalah seperti ini. Okay, so difference Okay, so to find the domain, how do you find the domain? You have to look into each term. This is for x, this is for y, this is for z. And r is actually equals to xi plus yj plus zk. Or if you write in terms of bracket, it will be x, y, z. Okay. So satu tu untuk x, t tu untuk y, z tu untuk t kuasa 2. And then when you look into domain of the vector functions, you have to look into each term, x, y, and z. So for x is equals to 1, for y is equals to t, and for z is equals to t squared. Okay, so t and t squared is a polynomial. Okay, kita tengok functions. Sorry? Okay, so I have some sort of this table. If I want to look into domain, I always use something like this lah. Okay, now the function first is polynomial. Polynomial is what? Polynomial is the variable to the power of n. Okay, n can be 1 until infinity lah. Okay, so if you have a polynomial where it's defined, function defined. Okay, it is defined on negative, it is defined on 0, it is defined on positive. How do you know it's undefined? Okay, a function is undefined if you use your calculator to calculate for the function, it will give you a math error. So whenever you get a math error, means your function is undefined on that particular region, on that particular domain, or either negative, 0, positive. Okay, so here polynomial can take any value from negative until positive. So we say it is from negative infinity until infinity. Okay. So question A, it is from negative infinity until infinity. So how do you write a domain? You may write it in terms of like this one. Okay, or you may write dalam bentuk bracket seperti ini, negative infinity t hingga infinity pun boleh. Okay. domain for R okay, it's t until infinity, which is domain for R equals to t until t infinity. Okay, so it in terms of writing, you boleh tulis macam mana pun. Okay, atas atau yang bawah Okay, let's see. This one is easier so because it's defined on every domain from negative infinity to infinity. Let's see B. Okay, so first we have 1 over t. Okay, 1 over t. So if your t is negative, it is defined. If your t is 0, 1 over 0 is not defined. Kan? Okay, if your t is positive, it's also defined. So in this particular domain, your function is not defined. Okay, so we said that for the first one, 1 over t, t cannot be 0. Okay, because when t equals to 0, it is undefined. Okay, for exponent, let's say we have exponent t. If t is negative, it is defined. Exponent negative, there's a value for it. Exponent 0 is equals to 1, so it is defined. Exponent positive is equals to, there's also a value for exponent to the power of positive, so it's defined. So for exponent, it is from negative infinity until infinity. Okay, so look at each term before you combine them, okay? Okay, the third one is the surd function, square root. There's no square root negative, okay, no square root negative. If you try to calculate for negative square root negative 1, okay, square root negative 1 is math error, so undefined. Square root 0 defined, square root positive also defined. So if it's defined in these two, okay, so okay, if it's only defined on 0 and positive, means your t must be greater than or equals to 0. Okay, so for square root t, the t must be greater than or equals to 0. So you combine all these three. Okay, combine. Let's say the first one is 0, negative infinity, infinity. Okay, the first one, for 1 over 3, it cannot be here. So it can be everywhere else, but then cannot be at 0. This is 1 over t. And then for exponent, it can be everywhere. So for exponent, it can be everywhere. And then for t, for square root, okay, can start from here until infinity, positive infinity. So, okay, so if you're looking at here, this is the only part where all the three terms collide, okay? So your domain must be from 0 until infinity, but not including 0. Not including 0. If including 0, then your bracket should be like this. Okay, this one means equals to include, but then this one means it's not including. Okay, so difference. So if you want to put in terms of domain, it will be 0 until t until infinity. Okay. Okay, so far you can get the idea of how to solve for the domain, kan? Do you have any questions so far?
No, Doctor.
Yeah, tada, okay. All right, and then C also will be very similar to B. What ln t squared and 1 over t minus 1. So again, ln. If you have ln kat mana dia tidak tertarif? Where is the ln become undefined?
Negative and 0.
Negative and 0. So it cannot be negative, it cannot be 0. It's only be positive. So positive means greater than 0 only. Okay, so for ln t, your t must be greater than 0, not including 0, because if it's equals to 0, it's undefined as well. Okay, and then the t squared from negative infinity until infinity because it's polynomial. The 1 over t minus 1, okay, obviously the t minus 1 cannot be equals to 0, right? The denominator cannot be equals to 0. Okay, so in here, denominator cannot be equals to 0. So in here, t cannot be equals to 1. Okay, so again, you combine all these three. Combining all these three. Okay, katalah sini kosong, sini satu. The first one can be greater than 0. The second one cannot be here. It can be everywhere else. And then the third one is from infinity to infinity. Okay, so obviously dia boleh ambil kat sini. Tetapi jangan lupa this part. Okay, so when combining this one, it can be greater than 0, but then cannot be equals to 1. Okay, so this is your domain. And D, you may do it yourself. For D, just do the same things here. Okay, and then you have to combine all the three domains to get the domain for R. Okay. Okay, let's move to question number 2. Sketch the parametric curve represented by each of the following vector function showing the orientation. Okay, so parametric equation we have to look into from chapter 1. So this one is the curve which we have x, y, and z, and it becomes a vector. Okay. To A, we have r equals to 2 minus t and 3 plus t. So basically, our x is 2 minus t and our y is 3 plus t. So this is a parametric equation. So how do you do parametric equation? How do you solve parametric equation? So you have to refer back to chapter 1 if you forget. Chapter 1, okay? So you may plot the points or you may eliminating parameter t. Okay, so for example, if I eliminate t, this is my first equation, this is my second equation. So t will be 2 minus x, so substitute here. I will have y equals to 3 plus 2 minus x, which is 5 minus x. So this is a straight line. Straight line, this is in terms of y equals to mx plus c. So how do you draw the straight line? It is negative. Okay. And the y-intercept is 5. So you have something like this. So this is 5. Okay, now you have to determine the orientation. How to determine the orientation? Okay, substitute any value of t. So you might try for this one. So the orientation, kalau kosong 2, 3, 2, 3 and then 1, 1, okay, dia ke bawah lah ni. 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, sini, 1, ke atas. Okay, you might try for that one. So this is how you do the parametric curve punya. Okay. Question number 2 is also the same. It will be a straight line, but then it has a domain of t in between 0 and 1. So you have to draw your curve in between 0 and 1 only. Okay, cannot be exceed that domain lah. It is also a straight line because why? T is to the power of 1 for x, and for y also it is to the power of 1. Okay, for C, it will be a curve. Why? Because there's a square root t. Okay, whenever it is not to the power of 1, it will be a curve lah. Okay, let's see 2C. We have r equals to square root t and 1 minus t. So our x is equals to square root t and y equals to 1 minus t. Okay, so just solve as usual as you solving the parametric equations chapter 1. Okay. Okay, so you may take 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, it's up to you. Let's say here we take t equals to 1 minus y, right? So substitute here, I will have x equals to square root 1 minus y. Okay, so remember, whenever you have a square root in surface or curve or graph, okay, square root means half of original, eh? Okay, which half? So you have to square. If I square both sides, so we are actually just repeating what we have learned before, eh? X squared equals to 1 minus y. Okay, so I will have y equals to 1 minus x squared. This is masam lah ni, masam naik 1. So masam naik 1. Okay, but then we are only one half of x positive, half of x positive. So you don't draw here lah, you draw only half there. Okay, that's how you do it lah. So this is your curve. Okay, now you have to find the orientation. You already have your curve, find the orientation. Okay. So how's the orientation? X positive, okay. This is 1. If y 0, then x also equals to 1. So t0, x0, y1. So from above to below. Okay, so try the orientation. Okay, for D, now you have a cos and sine. So whenever you have cos and sine, a pair of cos and sine, it will be a circle or ellipse, depends on the radius. Now, the radius for x is 2, the radius for y is 3, so you have an ellipse. You have an ellipse because the radius is not the same, right? Okay, so basically, if I look into this one, I will know that my y is 3, this is 2, so dia panjang pada x. So dia panjang pada y. Y, x. Okay, this is and then okay, either clockwise or counterclockwise. From cos to sine, your x is 2 cos t, your y is 3 sine t. So whenever you have x is cos, then you have a counterclockwise. Or you may check with substituting t. Okay. So you may try for the one, so you have a counterclockwise direction. E will be also the same. It is a circle. Okay. You may try for that one. And then F. F is what? F is circular helix. Okay, because now we have X, Y, and Z. Okay, so F ni macam yang kita tengok sebelum ni. R equals to 3 cos t, 3 sine t, and t. So you have now X, Y, Z. So you have to draw in 3D lah. X, Y, and Z. The circle is on X, Y. This is circle. And then the helix goes up to t. And as t increase, z also increase. So, and then this one is cos sine. It is a counterclockwise, okay? Because the cos is on x, the sine is on y. So, whenever you have that pair, it will be a counterclockwise. So, counterclockwise is what? Is from x to y kan, counterclockwise tu macam ni, x from y. So x here to y there. So dia akan pergi ke situ lah. And then you goes up je. Okay, so you location lah cantik sikit. Okay. Okay, so you have something like that lah. Circular helix. So this one is supposed to be 3. This one also supposed to be 3. Okay, so far do you have any questions?
No, doctor.
All right. So let's see question number 3. Find a vector equation and parametric equation of the line segment that joins P and Q. So ini pun senang juga ni. Okay, so we have already looked into this vector actually 1.4, the line and plan. Okay, how do you find a vector from 2 points? Okay, it's either you want to find PQ or QP. The difference only on the negative. Okay, the R equals to R naught plus dV. Parametric equation when you take out the X, Y, and Z. Okay. So I have E0 negative 2. So we have looked into this at chapter 1.4, topic 1.4, which is the lines and plan. So basically what you have here is a line segment with 2 points P and Q on that line. Okay, find a vector. Now we want to find the vector functions and the parametric equation. So vector is R equals to R naught plus TV. Okay, and then the parametric equations, you have to take out what is X, what is Y, and what is Z. Okay, so first of all we have to find V. Okay, let's say we find V from here, which is PQ. Okay, so PQ, Q minus P, 1, 2, 3, minus 0, negative 1, negative 2. Okay. Then your R equals to R naught plus TV. So you may take R naught P or Q. Okay. So let's say I take P, so I'll have 0, negative 1, negative 2, plus T, and then my V is 1, 3, 5. So this is my vector functions. Okay, so the parametric equations, I have to take out X. X equals to 0 plus T, Y equals to negative 1 plus 3T, and then Z equals to negative 2 plus 5T. Okay, so how do you get this? Just combine the terms, this one with this one, okay? And then the center with the center one, which is the for Y. And then lastly, this is for Z. Z with Z. Okay? Itu sajalah. And then the rest will be similar. B will be similar. Okay, just find your V first, and then you use the R equals to R naught plus TV, and then take out the X, Y, and Z. Okay, question number 4. This is a vector operations. Vector operations consists of plus, minus, dot product, cross product. Okay, and the multiplication of a function. There are no multiplication of vectors. Multiplication of vectors, we call it cross product. Okay, so it actually not become multiplication. It becomes the operation is similar to matrix operations. Okay, for cross product. It can be only multiplied with another function, not another vector. Okay. So for I, F plus G, I think there would be no problem. The F plus G, okay. Okay. Sometimes students confuse what it means by this T. Okay. It is not that after you plus F plus G, then you have to multiply with T. No, no. What it means by this T is the function is in terms of parameter T. Okay, if it's X here, then the function is in terms of parameter X. That's what it means. Okay, it's not that you have to multiply with T or multiply with X or multiply with any variables there. Okay, so, bukan maksud dia tu berbeza means if I only write in this way, if I only write in terms of F plus G, it is similar. Okay, it is only in terms of writing lah. Okay, so F plus G means you just plus each terms separately, x with x, y with y, and z with z. Okay, so we have t squared plus t for I, and then 2t plus t squared, 2t plus t squared for j, sorry, and then cos t plus 5, cos t plus 5 for k. That's it. Okay. And then second, sine t. Okay, you have a sine t f t. Okay, so it means like just multiply sine t with your vector f, your f vector. Okay, so what is f vector? T squared 2t and cos t. So dia akan jadi sine t darabkan dengan t squared I plus 2tj plus cos tk. Or t squared sine ti. Okay, so just multiply the sine t for every term. Okay, plus 2t sine tj plus sine t cos tk. Right? Okay, 3. So 3 is a cross product. Okay, it's not multiplication, cross product, f cross with g. How do you do cross product? So you have to do in terms of matrix. This is the matrix. So f plus g. So the above one must be for f, the below one must be for g. Okay. So what is your f? F is t squared for I, and then 2t for j, and then it is cos t for k. Okay, and then what is your g? G is t squared and 5. Okay. So saya rasa yang ini udah belajar sebelum ni kan, actually. You've studied this before, so maybe you just forget, okay. So if you do, please look back into this cross product, okay. Okay, if you want to solve for I, you just close the I vector. Okay, means you just close this part, and then you only consider this part. Okay, what happens here is if you have A, B, C, D, then you do the matrix operation of AD minus BC. Okay, AD here minus BC here. Okay, so for every terms that will happen. Okay, and then don't forget it must be plus minus plus. Plus minus plus. Okay, yang ini biasa sudah lupa ni negative part here. Okay, so bila negative tu terlupa, will be wrong lah. Okay, because negative will be positive. Okay, let's just solve for this one. Then I will have 10t minus t squared cos t squared cos t for I. And then for j, it will be 5t squared minus t cos t. Then for k, it will be t to the power 4 minus 2t squared. Okay, so basically you can have your answer as like this lah. If it cannot be simplified, then this is your final answer. If it can be simplified, so please do simplify the functions first. Okay, so 4 is the dot product. Okay, dot product ni lagi senang. The difference between cross product and dot product, the dot product, the answer of dot product must be in terms of scalar. Okay, skala ni maksudnya dia tak ada dah I, J, K. No I, no J, no K. Okay, but then for this one, the answer is in terms of vector. Whenever you have vector, then you have I, J, K. There's still I, J, K. So that's the difference between cross product and dot product. Okay. Okay, so we do the dot product for F. Okay, basically whenever you do dot product, it's better if you write in terms of bracket, the pointed bracket ni. Lagi senang sebab kita boleh darab setiap terms, okay? T squared 2t cos t. Okay? So if you look here, if I use a bracket to write my vector, I don't write the IJK. Okay, you don't write the IJK and you don't write the plus minus. Tambah tolak tu tak perlu. Kecuali kalau dia tolak, you ambil lah tolak tu sebagai dia punya terms. Okay, you only put the terms in terms of separated by commas. Okay, and then G is T squared and 5. Okay, so the dot product, this one multiply with this one, and then the y with y, the z with z, and then you plus everything. So it means T squared multiply with T plus the 2T multiply with T squared plus the cos T multiply with 5. So T to the power of 3 plus 2T to the power of 3 plus 5 cos T. Okay, so the 2 to the power of 3 and this one can be combined sebab dua-dua pun kuasa 3. So 3T to the power of 3 plus 5 cos T. So this is your final answer. Okay, so there's a difference between cross product and dot product. If you somehow feels like you weak in these operations, you may do other examples. Okay, last question. Question number 5. Okay, it is also similar. Still an operation of vectors. Okay, number 1 I think is very easy. You can do it yourself. Number 2 as well. Okay, let's look into number 3 and 4. Okay, number 3 also similar to last question we did. Okay, should be no problem. So the hash is sine t I and then exponent tj. Okay, and then there's no k, means k is 0. Okay, g is 1 minus t for I. J, no j, so j 0, and then 1 minus t for k. Okay, hash dot g. So again, you have sine t times 1 minus t plus exponent t times 0 plus 0 times 1 minus t. So this is 0, this is also 0. So what's left is 1 minus t sine t. Or sine t minus t sine t. Okay, you may write the below one or the above one. It's okay. Okay, and then question number 4. Whenever you do an operations, not only a vector, operations biasa pun, okay, you have to dahulukan the bracket. Okay, the bracket comes first. Means here, okay, you have to do the cross product first, then you do the dot product. Faham So kalau bracket dia berubah, so ikut di mana bracket tu berada dahulu. Itu adalah syarat untuk operasi. Apa-apa pun. Tambah tolak, darab bahagi, semua sama. Okay. And then after the bracket, it will be in between multiplication and division. Second. First is bracket, second multiplication or division, and then plus or minus. It comes together lah. Ini comes together. Whichever come first. Okay. Itu cara awak nak buat operasi okay, so we have to solve the cross product I, J, K. Okay, now the G come first, right? So G must be above and then the F must be below. Okay. So 1 minus T, 0, 1 minus T. And then the F is 2, negative 5 and T squared. 2, negative 5 T squared minus T, 1 minus T. Okay. So for I is 0 minus negative 5 times 1 minus t. Then for j is negative 5, 1 minus t, minus 0, 0 lah, plus, oh sorry, salah ni. For j is 2 squared 1 minus t, minus 2, 1 minus t. Then for k is 25, 1 minus t, minus 0. Okay, so you have 5 minus 5ti. Panjangnya. T squared minus t to the power of 3 minus 2 plus 2 tj plus 5t minus 5k. Okay, and then you do the dot product, which is f is what? F is 2 negative 5t squared cross with, okay, the answer here 5 minus 5t, there's a negative here. So t to the power of 3 negative t to the power of 3 minus t squared minus 2t plus 2 and then 5t minus 5. Then you have 2, 5 minus 5t minus 5. Okay, and then you just solve all together. And t to the power of 3, t to the power of 3, okay. Okay, so 5t squared, dia boleh padam, ni pun boleh mati, then this one also, and then 10 minus 10, 0, kacau pada dia, okay, the answer is equals to 0 lah here. Okay, so just do something like this. Okay, so we have finished with 2.1. Jump the question for 2.1. So basically you have to know about domain, you have to know how to do the vector equation of line, okay? And then we have looked into the operations as well, okay? The plus, minus, the multiplication with a function, the cross product, dot product, okay? And then how to draw the vector curve. So basically it is similar to how we solve the parametric curve for parametric equations. Okay, any questions?
So good.
All right, thank you all. So if there's no question, then we shall continue with 2.2, which is another vector functions. So in here we will learn about differentiation and integration of vector. Okay, let me find the question first. Okay, so 2.2 we have 12 questions altogether. Okay, basically question number 1 until question number 5, it's a similar question. Sketch the parametric curve, only a different parametric curve. Okay. Okay, let's look into 2.2. Okay, so here you have a circle, and a circle of radius 2. And then it goes counterclockwise because cos and sine. So I just repeat back. Okay, but then the question asks us to sketch a parametric curve for RT, then find and draw the Tangent vector R prime. Okay, so we have already sketched the parametric curve here. Now we have to find the R prime pi over 6. So R prime is equals to, before you find the R prime pi over 6, you have to find the R prime t. Okay, just differentiate it first. So I have 2, negative 2 sine t and 2 cos t. Okay, and then the R prime pi over 6 is equals to, okay, just use your calculator to calculate for negative 2 sine pi over 6 sine pi over 6, which is negative 1. And then square root 3. Okay, so to sketch the R prime, you have to sketch the R first. Okay, R is a position vector. R prime is a tangent vector. Okay, so tangent vector means if you have a curve, let's say this is your curve, tangent must touch the curve at exactly one point. This is what we call tangent. Okay, so tangent, itu maksudnya tangent Tetapi position vector, it must be along the curve, everywhere on the curve. Okay, to find this particular point, you have to find position vector first. So position vector of R equals to pi over 6 is R only, not the R prime, R, which is 2 cos pi over 6 will be square root 3 . So basically sama macam tadi lah, cuma okay, so square root 3, let's say this is 2, right? This is also 2, square root 3, something here. Okay, katalah. Square root 3 is, what's that, 1.7, okay, 1.7, something here. Okay, and then this, let's say this is 1. This is square root 3. Okay, so this is the R pi over 6. Okay, why do we have to find this position vector? Because your tangent vector must be here. Okay, then the question is either it's pointed upward or downward kan, pointed yang ke atas atau pointed ke bawah. Then you have to refer back to this for the vector, for the orientation of this of that tangent. Okay, first it goes negative 1. Negative 1 on x is, if x-axis, it's either go left or right, which is this is negative, this is positive. And then the y-axis, either it's go down or up. Okay, again, this is negative, this is positive. Okay, so here it goes to negative, which is sebelah sini dahulu dia pergi, sebelah sini. And then it goes up, So here is the vector. The vectors goes up. Nampak tak? So basically it follows the counterclockwise direction jugalah. Okay, it follows the curve direction, the curve orientation. If it's counterclockwise, then your tangent will go up. If it's clockwise direction, then your tangent will go down. Okay. Can you see the blue one? Okay, I use red now if you cannot see the blue one. So basically this is your vector. So this is the R prime pi over 6. That's it.
Doctor,
Yeah.
may I ask how the mark is given for this type of question?
The marks okay, basically when you find the R prime, it's 1 mark, okay, and then the R prime pi over 6 is another mark, okay, and then the sketching, okay, depends, sketching at most 3 marks, at most, okay, so it can be 2 or 3, depends on if we only ask you to sketch like this, sketch the parametric, sketch the tangent vector. Okay, we want you to sketch the tangent vector r prime. So maybe 2 marks here, the r prime 1 marks, and then the vector curve 1 mark. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Doktor, boleh ulang balik tak macam mana dapat R prime equal to -2 sin t 2 cos t?
Oh, r prime. So r prime tu bezakan, differentiate from r. You just differentiate the r. R prime is a differentiation of r. So maksudnya beza cos dapat negative sin, beza sin dapat cos. So dua tu dua lah sebab dia cuma constant. So dapatlah negative 2 sin t and then 2 cos t. And then pi over 6 tu, you just substitute the value of t equals to pi over 6 into your r prime. Itu guna calculator je lah, you tekan. Boleh?
Okay, thank you.
Alright. Okay, any other question? Okay, let's look into question number 2. It is basically similar to this question. Okay, now it is 4. Dia sama juga ni. It is a circle of radius 4. Basically, since the question does not give you a domain, so you may just draw a circle, a full circle. If there's a domain, then you have to obey the domain lah. Okay, maksudnya kalau dia cuma sampai pi, pi is half. Okay, if it's only pi over 4, then pi over 4 is quarter. Something like that, okay? If there's no domain, then you can just draw a full circle with radius 4 here, because it is 4 sin 2t and 4 cos 2t. And then x is sine, y is cos, so it is clockwise direction. Dia pergi ke bawah. Tadi counterclockwise, ni clockwise. Okay, sama juga, it asks you to find r prime pi over 4. R prime, before you find r prime pi over 4, you find r prime t dulu. R prime t is just differentiate r. Differentiate r, sekarang ni beza sin dapat cos kan? Okay, 4 cos 2t. Tapi ada 2 ni kan? 2 ni you beza lagi dapat 2. Beza dapat 2 tu you bawa ke depan. So instead of 4 cos 2t, it will become 8 cos 2t. So 4 darab 2. Selalu student terlupa yang tu. Okay, dia tak bezakan semula the terms of sin and cos. Okay, macam ke atas tadi tu, yang nombor 1, kalau you bezakan, you dapat 1. So 1 darab negatif 2 dapatlah negatif 2 juga. Sebenarnya dia bezakan dan dia darab. Tapi sama saja. And then the second term is 4, beza cos dapat negative sin. So negative sin 2t. Kenapa saya bagi ruang? Sebab saya nak bezakan 2 dan saya nak letak kat sini. Okay, so I will have negative x sin 2t. Okay, now I want to find the r prime pi over 4. As question asks, pi over 4. So I just use the calculator to calculate. Okay, sekarang ni satu lagi. You ada cos 2t kan? Nak tekan calculator pun kena betul ni. Cos 2 pi over 4. Okay, so you just solve this one first. We'll have cos pi over 2. Okay, you tekan calculator pi over 2 ataupun you tekan this one, but then you have to take note about the bracket. Okay, salah bracket tu salah lah jawapan awak tu nanti. Kita tadi apa yang letak? Okay, 8 cos kosong. Kosong negatif 8. Okay, 0 negative x. Okay. But again, remember, before you plot this 0 negative x, you have to find the r pi over 4, the position vector first. Okay. From this equation. So you have 4 and 0. Okay, so where is your 4, 0? So this is x, so x it goes there, and then for y static, it goes nowhere. So here is your r pi over 4. So from this point, from this particular point, okay, you can find the direction for r prime pi over t. So the r prime, dia static, untuk x dia static tak pergi mana-mana. And then for y, it goes down kan? Okay, so first dia tak pergi mana-mana and then it goes down. So this is your r prime pi over 4. Faham For question number 3 is also the same, but then question number 3 now is a ellipse. Okay, you have a ellipse of x equals to radius x equals to 2 and radius y equals to 3. And then for question number 4, okay, 3, 4, 5 ni boleh buat sendirilah ni. Question number 4, now it's a curve, a parabola, because there's a square, t square, so it will be a parabola there. Senyum ke masam ke, you have to solve for the curve first, okay, using parametric equations. Number 5 is also the same. It will be a parabola because you have a t to the power of 2. Okay. And then question number 6, find parametric equation of the line tangent to the parametric curve in question 3 at t equals to negative pi over 4. Boleh suruh cari parametric curve. 6 and 7 is a similar question. Find the parametric equation to the line tangent. So how do you find the parametric equation to the line tangent? Okay, let's just solve the question number 3 first. Two cos t and 3 sin t. Okay, so this ellipse is length, the length of the ellipse is along y-axis, dia panjang pada y-axis. So you have something 2 and 3 here. And then x is cos, y is sin, so it will be counterclockwise direction, so it goes up. Okay. Okay, before we find r prime pi over 4, let us find r prime t. Okay, in which we just differentiate r. Sebut bawah ni senang. Okay, differentiate r, differentiate cos will be negative sign, so negative sin t, the differentiate sign will be cos 3 cos t pi over 4. Negative pi over 4. Negative pi over 4. Okay. Okay, and then you just substitute the value into your calculator. So we have square root 2 and check first. Okay. 3 square 3 square root over 2 lah ni. Okay, so basically it is the same just now, or you may write in terms of point, which is 1.4142, and then the other one is 2.1213. 1213. Okay. Okay, and then before that, let us just find pi over 4 from this equation. Negative pi over 4. Okay, yang lain tu try Kok saya salah tekan ke letter ke? Okay, square root 2. Negative. Okay, negative 3 square root 2. So basically 1.2 negative 2. Okay, so we plot the R first, not the R prime, the R first, because it is the position vector. Position vector means starting from origin. Okay, senang. Dia mesti start daripada origin. But then the tangent vector, it must start from the last point of that position vector. Okay, that's why we find the position vector first. Okay. Okay, so the X is positive, so dia pergi sana and then dia ke bawah. And okay, somewhere like this and then goes down, right? So you have, okay, so this is your R, R negative pi over 4. So this point. So from this particular point, you have to start your R prime, which is the tangent vector. So tangent vector sama juga, dia pergi kanan dulu and then dia naik atas. So here it will be goes right and then goes up. Okay, saya guna warna merah goes right and then goes up. Okay. So this is your tangent vector R prime negative pi over 4. Okay, so basically something like that lah. So yang ini sebenarnya you tak payah nak tulis pun. You tak perlu nak lukis. Okay, because this one is only for your understanding lah. Yang ini pun you tak perlu nak lukis. Okay. What's left actually is this one only. Okay, you have to know that for position vector, it goes right and then it goes down. So your vector would be from the origin until the last point. Okay, and then from that particular point, okay, you find your R prime, which is it goes right and then goes up. Okay, so your vector would be until dia pergi ke atas lah, the last point of your vector. Okay, so you just give this curve as your answer. Okay, and then from question number 3, let's go to question number 6. Find parametric equation of the line tangent to the parametric curve in question 3 at t equals to negative pi over 4. So what the questions one is actually the vector equation of this line. Okay, means R equals to R0 plus TV dia apa dia kan? Parametric equation ke? Find the parametric equation. Okay, parametric equation is X equals to what it is, Y equals to what it is, and then Z equals to what it is. Okay, so basically before we find the X, Y, and Z, we have to find the V and R0 lah. R0 tu kita dah dapat dah satu point kat situ, which is our R negative pi over 4 can be our R0. Sebab dia basically point pada garis tersebut kan, the point on that line. And then the vector, the V, boleh ambil apa jadi V? The R prime lah. So the R prime negative pi over 4 will be our V. Okay, because what? Because it is the vector that parallel to the line. Okay, it is actually that line lah. That the vector is on actually the line. Okay. So what is your R0 just now? It is 2. So your R is R0, which is square root 2 negative 3 square root 2 over 2 plus T, and then your V is square root 2 3 square root 2 over 2, which is X equals to 2 plus square root 2 plus square root 2t, and then the y is equals to negative 3 square root 2 plus 3 square root 2. Okay. So itu maksud dia untuk soalan nombor 6. So question number 7 will be similar. You find your R naught to be the R, and then the V is R prime. Okay, and then you just find the X, Y, and Z there lah. Faham tak? Soalan nombor 6 ni, nombor 7 ni apa yang dia nak. Dan kenapa kita ambil R tu sebagai R naught, R prime tu sebagai V.
Faham.
Okay. Alright, and then question number 8. Okay, question number 8 is now in terms of three-dimensional coordinate system, which is we have X, Y, and Z. So just solve like questions before, but now you draw in terms of three-dimensional coordinate systems lah. This is not a circular helix, not a circular helix. Why? Because your Z is static at Z equals to 3. Dia tak pergi pusing macam tadi lah. So let's say this is 3. So you have a circle there. Why circle? Because this is a circle. So basically, circle tu actually pada XY plane. So this is XY plane, circle. But then it goes up to Z equals to 3. Okay. Okay, so if it's X cos Y sin, so it will be counterclockwise. So atas pun sama lah, dia akan jadi counterclockwise. Okay, yang bawah ni tak perlu nak lukis. Ini saya cuma nak bagi rujukan. Apa yang terjadi ke atas tu actually, it's from the down below. Okay. Okay, and then sama lah juga tu. You cari R prime. R0 is actually 203. Okay. 203, let's say here lah ni 203. Okay, so this is your R0, and then the R prime must start from here. Okay, either it goes there or goes there. Okay, so the tangent must touch there. Okay, so you have to find the R prime 0. Before R prime 0, let's find R prime t basically. So negative 2 sine t, and then sine is cos, and then differentiate 3 will be 0. And then R prime 0 will be 0, cos 0 is 1, so 2, 0. So basically it goes to this way lah, y-axis positive. Itu dulu. Okay, this one should be the black one, and then it goes y-axis positive, so there, just straight line saja. So this is R prime 0. Okay, so what happens in question number 8? Question number 7 and question number 9 will also be the same, but now you have a circular helix. Which is R equals to cos t, sin t, and t. Circular helix on the z-axis, x, y, z. Okay, so from cos to sin, dia pergi ke sana, and then dia naik. Okay, so this is what you have. And then find and draw R prime 4. So R pi over 4 is and then t is pi over 4. T pi over 4. or basically you have 1.41 project sign spherical which is 0.7071 0.78. Okay, and then R prime t first, negative sign t, cos t and 1. Then R prime over 4 will be, ni kalau sign tadi pi over 4 negatif 0.7071 cos 1.1. Cos pun sama lah, super sini. Seven zero seven one. Okay, so basically 0.7. So this should be 1, this should be 1. So dia belum sampai 1. So something here lah sebab sini katalah sini 0.7071 tu, ini pun 0.7071, and then dia dah naik sikit dah ni X. So this is your R pi over 4. And then from here the negative dia pergi sana and then so dia akan naik ke atas ni. Dia akan naik ke atas. So this is R prime over 4. Just sketch lah, okay. Okay, question number 10, 11 and 12. 10, 11 and 12 is about integration. Okay. So question number 10 is what we call indefinite integral, because you don't have a domain or a range to substitute into your last answer. Okay. So in this one you have to plus C. I plus 40J plus exponent negative 2K dt. Right? Okay, so what you have to do is actually just integrate each terms separately. Integrate each term separately. Okay, so the integration, the basic integration applies here lah. For example, if you want to integrate 3 is only a constant, so integrate constant with respect to t, you will have 3t. Okay, and then for indefinite integral you have to plus c. So you can either do 3t plus c 1i. Okay, each terms you plus the c. Okay, so c1, c2 and c3. So for j is 4t to the power of 2 over 2 plus c2j. And then for the exponent, how do you integrate exponent? The exponent will also be exponent, right? So exponent negative 2t. However, the power of the exponent, which is now is negative 2t, you differentiate and then you bring the answer becomes the denominator. So negative 2t, you ada constant dia negative 2 kan? Negative 2 tu bawa ke bawah. Okay, and then plus c3k. So this is your answer. Okay, so dia tak ada trick or tips yang specific lah here. It's just different integration. Okay, so if you feel that you are weak in the integration, you have to do all the a lot of integrations exercise first. Okay, before you go to vectors. Okay, because vectors only plus I, J, K, itu saja, tak ada masalah. Cuma integration tu, kalau lemah memang lemah. Okay, and then this one you boleh cut out lah. Okay, and then question number 10B is also the same. Okay, just integrate each term separately, but then each terms must be plus C1, plus C2, and plus C3 because this is indefinite integral. Okay, for question 11, it is definite integral. Definite integral means it has a range or a domain to integrate. Let's say we look into A, exponent 3t, exponent negative 2t, and then negative 2t dt. Okay. Okay, so again, just integrate each term separately. So for exponent negative 3t, so exponent lah juga. Integrate exponent, dapat exponent. Differentiate exponent pun akan dapat exponent. The difference is only on the power of the exponent. Either it goes to the front or below. Okay. For differentiation, for integration, it goes down below lah, which is 3 now will be 3. Do not plus C1, C2, C3 for definite integral, okay? You don't have to plus the constant because now we are going to substitute the value of 1 until 0, okay? After we integrate each terms, okay, we will substitute the value. So the second term is exponent negative 2t, so again exponent negative 2t over negative 2. And then the third term is negative 2t, so negative 2t kuasa 2 per 2. Okay, so masukkan nilai daripada 0 ke 1. Remember, you substitute this one first, and then this one second, and then you minus. So maksudnya eksponen masukkan T1, 3 per 3, eksponen negatif 2 per 2, negatif 2 ke 2 ni 1 ni, so negatif 1, tolak, masukkan kosong. Eksponen kosong bukan kosong so you jangan kosongkan terus. Eksponen 0 is equals to 1. So minus 1 over 3, negative 1 over 2, and then the T is 0 lah. Okay, then you have your answer, which is exponent 3 over 3 minus 1 over 3 for I, exponent 2 over 2 plus, minus will be plus, and then negative 1. Okay, so you may simplify if you want to. If not, then just leave your answer here. For B is also the same. Okay, integrate each term separately first, then substitute the value of t equals to pi over 4 minus t equals to 0. Okay, question number 12. This is initial value problems. For initial value problems, okay, there's a value for R0. You have to substitute a value as well. However, before substituting that, you have to write down the plus C1, plus C2, plus C3, and then we are going to find the value of C. What is C1, C2, and C3? So that's the difference between definite integral, indefinite integral, and initial value problems here. Okay. Let's see, for example, C. Okay, sini dia dua kali, dia integrate dua kali ni. The first one is R double prime, then cos T, cos R double prime equals to cos Ti minus sin Tj. R double prime equals to cos Ti minus prime Tj. Okay, so we find R prime first. R prime is integrate the R double prime with respect to T, means we want to integrate cos Ti minus sin Tj with respect to T. So we have sin Ti negative cos Tj. Okay, so as I mentioned before, you have to plus C1 and C2. So saya padam balik ni. Plus C1 for I, and then plus integrate sign will be negative cos, and negative will be positive. So cos t plus C2j. Okay, now we are going to find what is the value of C1 and C2. How? Okay, refer back to your question. Given R prime 0 equals to negative I, right? R prime 0, what's 0? 0 is t. When t means when t equals to 0, when t equals to 0, R prime equals to negative I. So this is what it means by this equation. So we're going to substitute t equals to 0 into this equation and equate it equals to negative I. So R prime 0 will be sine 0 plus C1I plus cos 0 plus C2j, and everything equals to negative I. So sine 0 is 0, so C1I, cos 0 is 1 plus C2j equals to negative I. Okay, then we equate our left hand side and right hand side. Okay, your right hand side you have negative I, your left hand side you have C1I. Okay, so I untuk I lah. Therefore, your C1 is equal to negative 1. How about J? There's no J, right? So it is actually 0J. So 1 plus C2 is equal to 0, or C2 equals to negative 1. So you substitute the value of C equals to negative 1 and then C equals to negative 1 into the R prime. Therefore, you have R prime equals to sine t minus 1 for I, and then plus cos t minus 1 again for J. Okay, but this is not the answer yet, okay, because you have to find the R now. R is to integrate the R prime pula, which is you want to integrate the sine t minus 1I plus cos t minus 1 J with respect to dt. Okay. Okay, so we continue. Saya bawa ni. Boleh tak boleh ni? Sin t minus I cos t minus I. So our R will be to integrate sin t minus I plus cos t minus I J. Boleh? Sin t cos t. Alright. Okay. So integrate sign will have negative cos. Integrate 1 will be t and then plus another C1. And then integrate cos will be sine minus t plus C2 now. Okay, so again the question given R0 equals to I plus 2J. Okay, so similar means when t equals to 0, your R equals to 1 plus 2J. So R0, substitute here will be cos 0 is 1. So negative 1 minus 0 plus C1I plus sine 0 is 0, 0 minus 0 plus C2J, everything equals to 1 plus 2J. So yang ini apa dia? Yang ini adalah from here, substitute t equals to 0. Okay. So equal left hand side and right hand side, I will have negative 1 plus C1. Untuk I itu sama dengan 1. And then C2 equals to 2. And then C1 equals to 1 plus 1 is 2. So your final answer is R Your final answer is here lah, but then you find the value of C1 and C2, substitute into 2, which is negative cos t minus t plus 2, and then sin t minus t plus 2. Okay. That's your final answer. So for 12A and B, you just do similar methods to this 12C. But then the 12C, you have to integrate twice because it is R double prime. For A and B, you just integrate once, okay? So I think that's it for 2.2. Yeah, that's the only question of 2.2. So in 2.2, basically you have to know how to sketching the tangent vector. Okay, and then before you sketch the tangent vector, you have to sketch the position vector, because tangent vector will depends on the last point of your tangent vector, position vector. Okay, and then basically sketch the parametric curve. Okay, protangent vector. Tangent vector R prime is differentiation of R, right? And then lastly, this one, which is the integration. So there are 3 cases of integration, which is definite, indefinite, and initial value problem. So you have to look into all the 3 cases. Okay, do you have any questions so far?